So I just want to warn you that we have some problems. And we have some major problems. What is happening right now is that the United States is headed towards a government shutdown. And this government shutdown, it's more than just a possibility. I believe now economists predict the shutdown is going to happen, and it's about a 95% chance we are going to experience a shutdown. This means that payments could be delayed. This means parks are going to be closed. This means government agencies, they're not going to be working. Your money, could be lost. So I want to address what's happening here, okay? Because there's two different paths. One is you follow the Speaker Kevin McCarthy down his path, and that is the Republican path. That is through the House of Representatives, where they're, at this time, they are now trying to move forward with the House stopgap bill. However, GOP members are against this because they want something that will go for the entire year. They're pushing for something that would be fully funding the United States government for all of the fiscal year 2024. However, the problem is the Senate is not going to go for what they want. Actually, what's happening, the House is going to vote for this short-term funding bill. And the only reason why the House is voting for a short-term funding bill and not going with the bill that they originally planned is because the Senate made it very clear they are not going to put that bill on the floor for a vote. Even the Senate Republicans said the House plan is not going to pass in the Senate. There is no point. Because what the Senate is planning on doing is doing it's a very short-term bill. It would only last for 45 days. And this bill would go until, I believe, November 17th. Inside this bill, what is actually happening is we would see money go to FEMA. We'd see just the existing funding here in the United States. It would just continue on. So we would see no changes except FEMA would receive a little bit of money and Ukraine would receive money. That is the problem. What many people in the House of Representatives do not want, mainly Republicans, absolutely no money to Ukraine. So, if there's a couple things that could happen here. First, we could see a government shutdown. That's the most likely option because, according to Democrats, we have to provide some form of funding to Ukraine. Right now, they're saying it's going to be $6 billion. And Republicans say absolutely not, no way. So, where do we go from here? Well, here's what's happening. First off, I want you to understand what are some of the changes, what are some of the things that we're going to experience, okay? Now, the great thing about this, bankrate.com already did a great article. I'm going to show you this, and they just list 8 different things that could affect your money. So let's look at that really quick. First off, payments or paychecks to federal workers. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. All federal workers could potentially lose their paycheck. Okay? Millions of people are going to be furloughed, which means that, yes, you can go on unemployment. You can collect benefits. It's not going to be what you normally get, but you can collect benefits. The problem, though, is for many people, the largest percentage of federal workers, they are going to be furloughed but asked to work. And then when the federal government does receive the funding, then they will just get a back pay. That's it. And so that could be a very big thing for them, and it's going to be a big decision. If they're being asked to work, they need to work, because if they say no, guess what? They can't get unemployment benefits. So it's a big problem. Here's another one. Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare benefits. So I already said this before. Social Security benefits are going to be there. Your check is going to be there. Now, if you want a Social Security card, that may take a little bit longer because they might not be making them. If you want Medicaid and Medicare, the problem is according to this report, according to the contingency plans, they are now saying that the Social Security Administration plans to furlough about 14% of their staff, okay, their employees. in a shutdown, while the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, they are going to retain about 49%, which means they're going to furlough 51% of their staff. That's huge. But one thing you need to keep in mind is that, yes, in the previous shutdowns, Medicaid was hit hard. It says it's unlikely this time around. However, there's still a possibility that people can be turned away from their Medicare application. So just be aware, if you haven't done an application yet, then you could be impacted. Here's another one. Food assistance programs such as SNAP and WIC. I want to be very clear on this. I did a video on this just yesterday as well, that WIC is going to see their benefits are pretty much going to be up after the first or second day being on a shutdown. However, SNAP benefits are still going to be there. Here's the problem. The money isn't coming in. So according to SNAP, it says that they are going to be trying to pull money through cash reserves from previous years. That's what they're going to be trying to do. That's in their contingency plan. So we need to be well aware of that what they're trying to do is, it's something that's possible, but it's probably not going to keep the SNAP benefit program funded for many months. It could potentially just be 1 month, and we don't know that yet. So we need to be well aware of that. Here's another one. Tax refunds, credits, and other services. One thing I can tell you is that this shutdown is going to happen very close to the October 16th tax extension deadline. Now, here's what you need to keep in mind. There's still a big backlog of federal tax returns. I believe it says there's about 1.2 million that are still backlogged. And right now, the problem is, if you're waiting for your tax refund, guess what? You might be waiting a little bit longer. But the good news there is, if you're waiting a little bit longer, then you should be able to get a little bit more of interest payments. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's also unemployment insurance, okay? This unemployment benefits. Oops, there you go. As far as unemployment benefits go, federal employees can submit an unemployment claim. The problem is, if you have, let's say, a million people, just an influx of 1 million people going to file a claim, it's going to slow things down. Be well aware of that. Processing, you're going to experience delays. Okay? Another one, student loans. It says Americans gearing up to make payments on their student loans for the first time in more than 3 years are going to experience trouble getting their questions answered. Of course they are, because the Office of Federal Student Aid plans to keep just 17% of its employees on board. Just 17%. So expect, if you have a question, well, you're probably not going to get an answer. Here's a big one. This one is massive. Interest rates and the Federal Reserve. I want to read this to you. Okay? It says right here, in a shutdown, Fed officials would be flying blind. Key departments producing the economic data Fed officials rely on when deciding how much to raise interest rates would be completely shuttered in a shutdown. That includes the Department of Labor's Bureau and Labor Statistics, as well as the Department of Commerce Bureau of Economic Analysis. Those agencies publish monthly jobs and inflation reports, as well as snapshots of broader economic growth, including gross domestic product, or GDP. The Fed needs that. Social Security needs that. If you want to know what your cost of living adjustment is going to be, guess what? Without this key data, you will not know. It is a huge, huge issue. So that is what is going to happen as far as your money. Now, what's new? Well, here's something that's new. There's now a little bit of a push from one Democrat, and there is multiple people that do support this, is if we see the government shut down, Democrats are calling for a student loan payment freeze once again. I don't think this passes, but there is some discussions on it, so we just need to be well aware of this. Okay? Another one. It says FEMA cuts disaster aid ahead of shutdown. FEMA just announced that they're actually going to be withholding about $8 billion in disaster relief funds from states and territories, because they're going to wait until Congress can replenish their coffers. Until they can do that, they're going to withhold money. The last thing I just want to say is a senator did end up passing away this morning. According to the Associated Press, says Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein of California, she dies at age 90. And this has been confirmed. One thing I can say is that she did serve many years in the Senate. She was just a trailblazer in her years. But this is going to be a big move in the Senate. This opens up different doors for a Republican to come through, a new Democrat to come through. So it's going to be interesting to see who replaces her and when, and also kind of what their agenda is. So a lot of stuff happening right now, but I just wanted to fill you in on what's going on regarding the government shutdown and explain some of the big news that has been happening as of this morning. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.